need to be influential or persuasive? Do you need to convince people of things at work, but you're finding that it's not always working, or it's just a much more uphill slog than you think it should be? Well, the problem might be not about the quality of your argument. It might be something much more fundamental than that, which is, do you have credibility with the people that you're trying to influence? So, most of us, when we have to persuade someone or sell our idea or get somebody to agree to go along with something, we focus very heavily on the quality of our argument. And that makes sense. We want it to be very logical. We want ironclad evidence. We want all the statistics and proof that this is the right plan. Or we want to add, such a compelling emotional story for why, this is the only way we can go. And logic and emotion both are important parts of an effective influence strategy. But those are all things that we build on top of our foundation of credibility. And if that foundation is is leaky, then all of that argument could just crumble. So I want you to think a little bit about your credibility with the stakeholders that you need to influence. What do you think it is? Do you even ask that question of yourself often enough? You may feel it in your gut sometimes. You may feel like, I'm not sure they're buying it, or they were scowling from the moment I walked in the room. So you may have a bit of an intuitive sense of your credibility, but have you kind of thought about it a little bit more clinically, sterilely, objectively? And that's what I want you to do now. Credibility is so interesting because we often talk about it as somebody having or not having credibility. So it's a characteristic. So I may have credibility or not as an expert with a YouTube channel. And I may think that, I have a PhD in organizational psychology. That makes me credible. Well, it's a great example because it's going to make me credible with certain people. I know that there are lots of organizations I work with where they're very quick to make sure that PhD is after my name because their bankers or their scientists or whatever will really value that. It will mean something to them. It will give me credibility. But that is not true in many audiences. I will often, I spoke recently to a big organization from the trucking industry. Now, me walking up there onto the stage to address people who work in the fleet long haul trucking industry and touting my PhD and a bunch of lab research I did 25 years ago is actually going to erode my credibility. What does she know about trucking? What does she know about what our world looks like? And it's a bit of a painful reminder, but it's an important reminder that credibility is not some static objective characteristic of you. It's actually in the eye of the beholder. Your credibility is different in every relationship you have. So I want you to do exactly what I just did. I want you to think about the key people that you need to influence and think, what gives me credibility with these folks and what detracts from my credibility? And the hard thing is when you realize that something in the asset column with one stakeholder is in the liability column with another. But it's important to know that, to know what you need to play up, to know, what characteristics of you, what you want to kind of allude to in your argument, what work you need to do to socialize you and your role and your background and your expertise beforehand so that it fits. And when you walk in the room, the person is ready. So I think about this a little bit like if you're trying to influence, if you're trying to plant a seed and have it grow into something, credibility is all about the quality of the soil. Have you done what you need to do in advance to make sure when you plant that seed, it is ready to grow? And some folks have relationships where it's like planting the seed in clay. There is nothing, they aren't budging. There is no support, no opportunity for that idea to actually sprout. So, thinking about your credibility, thinking about how it varies among different people is so important. Now, don't miss next week, I'm going to come back with what do I do when I have to influence I need to make this happen for my job. This is on my objectives. And I already know I don't have credibility with this decision maker. How do you influence when you don't have credibility? So stay tuned for that next time.